So John, in vSAN, our customers have the choice of setting a level of failure to tolerate of anywhere between 0 and 3. What would an FTT of 0 be used for?
So this is basically kind of a RAID 0 setting. Although it's not, I guess, traditionally RAID 0 involves striping everywhere and was sometimes done for performance. We keep the stripe setting different. So a failure within a host you might get lucky and might not impact a VM, but it's still a setting. Um, this is something that people toyed around with for a while for using for VDI, but frankly have moved away from just because instant clones are so thin on their own and so tiny that the net additive cost of each desktop is really nothing. So I would say that was a use case when people were doing some kind of ephemeral full clones, but we've really moved on in life from that. This was also something sometimes people would look at for trying to do some of the shared nothing architecture stuff, but I would really argue instead using vSAN Direct and the data persistence platform is really where that's going to be. So types of workloads where the application is doing the resiliency, that's going to be those object storage solutions and things like that. Really, you should go use the data persistence platform. You could use it for some capacity heavy ephemeral workloads. Just be aware that if a device fails that takes out that component or that object, in that case, you're going to end up with an orphaned virtual machine disk, or potentially if it's the home directory, an orphaned virtual machine. And so that can sometimes involve some metadata cleanup. And specifically back when we would use Composer for link clones, this often meant purging things out of a database. So this is why this is not a wildly used setting. It's still around in case you can find a use case for it. But I really like to think that instant clones and the data persistence platform and vSAN Direct have kind of taken over most of the use case for this feature.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. And let's face it, enterprise class storage, that was never what it was made for, was to make the data non-redundant. So it's not exactly in the wheelhouse of most storage systems. And I would think that vSAN sort of falls in that same in the same category as well.
I mean, it could be used with a stretched cluster. So you could just have something that's only mirrored between the sites, but that would be, most people are still going to want a RAID 1 or RAID 5
Yeah.
once it gets over.